Hello board game brothers and sisters, and welcome to another episode where I'll be letting you know of Kickstarters launching this week. This is about the latest I've ever started recording a video before. It's about 3 a.m. right now, so if I look a little bit tired, well, I'm not tired, you're tired. I mentioned in last week's video that if we hit 500 members on the Discord, I'd do a little giveaway, and we managed to hit 525, so that's pretty awesome. And I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do for a giveaway, so I'd also asked viewers to leave some comments on that video and let me know of some ideas that they had. So what I did is I went through all those comments and I picked out the ones that I saw the most, and I created a little short list. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this short list into a poll, and I'm going to post it on the Discord. So if you want to vote for the idea that you like the most, you can check out the Discord. I'll leave a link in the description below. And you can go ahead and vote for the idea that you like the most, and whichever gets the most votes, I'll announce in next week's video, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to go through each of these and explain what they are. And the first one is a painted mini with a video. So if this one gets picked, I'll do a draw, and whoever wins that draw, they'll be able to mail me a miniature of their choice. And I'll go ahead and paint that miniature, but I'll also record that painting and create a little tutorial painting video. And then after that's all completed, I'll mail the miniature back to you, so you'll have the miniature, but you'll also have a really cool video. And the next one's a little bit more of our traditional giveaways, where I'll contribute $50 to a Kickstarter pledge of your choice. So you can go ahead and get whatever you want, and you'll basically have a $50 credit towards that, personally from me. And then this one's a little bit similar to that, but it would be getting our sponsor, KickstarterGames.com, involved. So what I can do is I can try and reach out to them and see if they're willing to match my contribution, so that we can maybe do a giveaway that's up to $100 instead of $50. But this wouldn't be for a Kickstarter pledge. It would be for a game that's already released into retail and offered on the KickstarterGames.com platform online that you can go ahead and check out now. And the next few are ideas that I really wasn't expecting, and they're not really traditional giveaways. They're more just like things I'll do if they're what you want to vote for. So the first one is a top 5 or a top 10 of my favorite games video. That's not a video I've ever done before, but a lot of you asked for it, so I thought I'd put it on this list. And the next one would be a video selection of your choice. So this would be kind of similar to that, but I'll do another draw, and whoever wins that draw can just pick a topic that they'd like to see me cover, and I'll make a video dedicated to that topic. And the next one's kind of similar to that, but instead of picking a topic, you'd pick another content creator that you'd like to see me do a collaboration with, and I'll reach out to them and do my best and see if we can work something out. And the last one is another one that I wasn't expecting, but it seems kind of fun, and this is a giveaway from my top 10. So you wouldn't know what game you're getting. I would just go ahead and pick something from my top 10 that I think you'll like, and it'll be good. You'll like it. And I'll go ahead and mail that to you. So this one would be a little bit of a surprise since I haven't done a top 10 video yet. So I'm really liking these ideas. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Make sure to join the Discord and go ahead and vote for what you want to see the most, and we'll go ahead and announce that in next week's video. And I know you really want to get to the games launching this week, but before we do that, I just want to mention that BoardGameCo also does a video like this, but he does it once a month, and he covers the next 30 days. So if you want to see games further into the future, definitely subscribe to his channel, because he'll be covering some of the bigger games launching over the next month. And he does that near the end of the month, so you can expect that to go up really soon. And another newer content creator that I wanted to mention that's been doing some really great work is Liège of Games. He puts out all sorts of videos, and he's been putting a lot of work into these videos. He's been putting pretty much one out every day. So that's a crazy amount of content. And he puts out all sorts of videos. It seems like maybe he took some inspiration from other content creators, but he also mixes in a little bit of his own style, and also has a few videos of his own that I haven't seen from other content creators either. And he also releases his own weekly upcoming Kickstarter video, just like this one, but with his own personality and his own style. So it's always good to see different perspectives, even if it's similar content. So I definitely recommend checking him out. And I was really impressed with how conversational he is, which is something that I still struggle with. And he obviously does a lot of research if you watch his videos, so I definitely recommend checking out Liège of Games. And with that said, let's check out the Kickstarters. And the first set of games launches on the 22nd, and the first one we're going to cover is Robinson Crusoe, The Book of Adventures. And this is an expansion to the Robinson Crusoe core game that plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 120 minutes to play. And Robinson Crusoe is a cooperative game where players are shipwrecked on a deserted island. And the game actually offers a variety of different scenarios that are very different from each other. They all put you on an island, but they're all very thematically different and can have their own backstory, goal, and secrets to discover. Although there's different scenarios, the core of the game plays the same. You're going to be building shelters, crafting weapons and tools, and dealing with wildlife, weather, and hundreds of event cards that are going to put obstacles in your way. The game is actually rated 56 on top games on BoardGameGeek. And one thing about Robinson Crusoe, it's actually known for being quite a difficult game. And the campaign for this new expansion is also going to be offering the Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition as well, which comes with a lot of new changes with it that I'll go over in a second here. And existing expansions will also be compatible with this new expansion, but I didn't see any mention of them being offered on this campaign. So the Collector's Edition is going to have quite a few changes with it, and the first one is that there's going to be a 4-scenario tutorial campaign that will gradually teach you everything you need to know to play the game. And this is really great because the original rulebook for this is known for not being very well done. And this tutorial is designed to introduce new players, so it'll be a really great alternative to learning how to play the game and getting up to speed when you have new people or if you yourself are trying to learn the game. One thing to note with these is that they're not going to offer the same challenge that the core scenarios offer, so if you already know how to play the game, you're probably not going to be too interested in playing these tutorial scenarios. And something else that the collector's edition of this game is going to offer is component upgrades. So this game is going to offer miniatures now, which I'm pretty excited for a few reasons. Number one, they're going to be designed by Awakened Realms, which make amazing miniatures, so you know that they're going to look awesome. Number two, this game is very thematic, and I think these miniatures will actually add a little bit more immersion to your game, which I'm really happy about. And number three, this is a game that doesn't really have many characters, so I don't think there's going to be miniature bloat with this game, which we often see with so many other campaigns. One thing I did read is that there's going to be 2 miniatures for every character, and I'm not really sure what the reason is for that, so if there is a reason for that and you know why, please leave a comment down below because I'm just curious to know why. And the last big thing that the collector's edition of this game is going to add is something that I think you'll be able to find pretty easily even if you already have the game. And that's a companion app for your mobile phone that's going to introduce up to 300 new adventure and event cards to the game. And this is completely optional. All it does is add more variety to your game. And it also adds some audio if you want to have some added immersion. And I'm not really sure what that entails. I assume it'll be some thematic music, maybe depending on the scenario that you pick. And if that ambiance is something that you really like in your game, I definitely recommend investing in a Bluetooth speaker because it's just going to sound so much better than listening to it through your little phone. In Portal Games, if you're watching this, please include those 300 cards as an optional buy on the campaign because there's going to be a ton of us that want those in a physical form, and it's just not as fun sleeving your phone. And one thing to note is that if you do already have the core game, there is going to be an upgrade pack available. So now let's get into the Book of Adventures expansion. And this expansion is going to be quite large. It actually includes 20 brand new scenarios as well as variants to the existing scenarios in the game. And something that I really like about this expansion is that the scenarios are all going to be ranked by difficulty. And I'd mentioned earlier that Robinson Crusoe has traditionally been a very difficult game. So this is going to allow players to choose the challenge that they want to play on a given night. And because of all these reasons and all the previous reasons I mentioned that I was super excited about, this one's going to be my pick of the week. And this is actually also the Discord pick of the week because a lot of us are excited about this one. This is a game that's been around for a while and has stood that test of time. And it's known by many and many people I trust to be an amazing game. And that really gives me a lot of confidence in backing this one. And for a lot of us out there, we've already played the game and we know if this is a game for us or not. And I really like what they're doing with this campaign. They're offering something for everyone. I really like that there's an upgrade pack. And I'm really hoping that there's not too much bloat with the miniatures. But I guess we'll see. And I also really like how this has made the game more accessible. Getting more people to be able to play board games is something that's really important to me when I'm assessing a game. And I really like to see that they added that tutorial to make the game easier to play and to get into, especially for new players. And also adding those variable difficulty scenarios because now there's something for everyone regardless of the difficulty of game that they're looking to play. I also personally just really love outdoor survival themes, so this is a game that I've actually wanted to add to my collection for quite a few years now. I just hadn't pulled the trigger, and this campaign's offering a really nice entry point to get the game in the best form that's available. And I actually really love those grindy survival video games, and if you've ever seen the TV show Alone, that's actually one of my favorites. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. Start with the first season because it's amazing. And also don't forget to follow the project because it'll get you €5 credit absolutely free towards your pledge manager. And the next campaign is Arma, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 5 to 45 minutes to play. And I know that's a pretty wide time range, but I'd read in a view that it takes around 10 to 20 minutes to play, so that might be a better representation. But Arma is a abstract representation of a chariot racing game where players are going to be flicking these discs around the board, and they're going to be trying to complete several laps of the board, and the first person to get to 5 laps wins the game. The catch with this game is that every time you flick your disc, you either have to hit one of these wooden dowels or you have to hit the opponent's disc as well. So there is a little bit of conflict in this game where you could potentially hit your opponent's disc off the board, but you could also completely miss and flick your own disc off the board. And the game is short enough that even though there is conflict, some of you that may have an issue with that may not really be bothered by it because the game length is so short. The board and discs for this game are completely handmade from solid wood, so it's going to have a very premium and hefty feel to it. And if you do like Crokinole, I do think this is going to have a similar feel to that while still offering something a little bit different. So if you're a fan of dexterity games, definitely check this one out. I'll leave a link in the description below. And the next few games launch on the 23rd, and the first one is Mythic Battles Ragnarok, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. And this is coming from the publisher Monolith that also created games like Conan, Batman Gotham City Chronicles, and another game very similar to this one called Mythic Battles Pantheon. And I actually don't have too much info on this game. There's not a lot that's been released outside of BGG. So if you're really interested in this one, I do recommend checking out Mythic Battles Pantheon because there's a ton of content out there already. And I imagine the gameplay for this one is going to be very similar to that. But Mythic Battles Ragnarok actually takes place in Norse mythology, and this universe is full of epic battles of gods and mortals waging war. This game can be played as a skirmish battle between players, or it can be played as an epic saga or campaign where players are working together in a cooperative fashion. And if you're familiar with Monolith, you know that there's going to be some pretty amazing artwork coming along with this game, and a ton of miniatures. Too many miniatures. But the miniatures are going to look incredible. And although I don't have too much info on the actual gameplay, I was actually really impressed with everything I found in the forums. Monolith has been really active in the forums, and there's all sorts of sneak peeks with the different boards that the game offers, the different miniatures, and as well as some additional lore if you're interested in that. I did also come across a few comments that indicated that this will likely integrate with Mythic Battles Pantheon, and it may even integrate with Conan the board game as well. So if this is one that you're interested in, definitely check it out, and definitely check out any content that you can find on Mythic Battles Pantheon because I think that'll give you a good idea of how this will play. And next, staying true to the Viking theme, we have Fjords, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. And this is a tile placement game that takes place over 2 phases. In the first phase, you're going to be exploring the fjords by laying hexagonal tiles, and in the second phase, you're going to be walking along the landscape and claiming the terrain. And this is actually a re-implementation of a game that's already out and you can go ahead and try for yourself. And there's going to be a bunch of new upgrades to this version. There's going to be some really nice updated artwork by Beth Sobel. There's going to be 5 new variants designed by Phil Walker Harding. And this is also now going to play 4 players where the original game only played 2. So if you really enjoy lightweight tile laying games with some beautiful artwork, definitely check this one out. And the next campaign we have is Questeros, and you can sort of look at this campaign like getting 3 games for the price of 1, because with the subset of components you're getting here, you're actually going to be getting 3 different sets of rules. There's going to be a 2 to 6 player trick-taking game, which is going to be the main chunk of what this campaign is about, but then you're also going to be getting a full set of tarot cards with artwork done by John DeCampos, who I'm probably saying his name wrong, but I've also looked into him in the past and he does some really nice artwork. I don't know exactly what the style of art is called that he does. It kind of reminds me of Ren and Stimpy, but way better looking than that. And then you're also going to be getting rules for a solo game that's called Arrow's Quest. But in the 2 to 6 player trick-taking game, each round players are going to guess how many tricks that they are going to win. And XP is gained or lost based on how accurate you are with your guess. The trick-taking works very similar to classic trick-taking games where the highest card of a given suit is going to be worth the most and take the trick. But there are also going to be some special cards coming into the mix that are going to allow you to break the rules of the game. The game plays over 6 rounds, and the player that earned the most XP at the end of the game wins the game. And as I said, the solo game is a completely different game than the multiplayer game, but you're still going to be using all these cards and components that are included in this campaign. With a solo game, you put all those special quest cards together into a deck, and you're going to be working your way through those quests, developing your combat skills, learning new magic, and finding treasure and allies to help you along the way. And those quests are going to present a number of difficulties for you to overcome. And you're going to be facing all sorts of challenges like demons, dragons, assassins, and many more. And the next campaign we have is Floriferous, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play. And this is a set collection game where players are going to be walking through a garden and trying to collect different flowers in order to gain victory points. Players are going to be walking through the garden by placing their pawn on the tableau, and the pawn is going to represent your location in the garden. Wherever that pawn gets placed, you're going to be able to make a decision from one of 2 options. You can either select flowers to add to your set, or you can select cards that determine which sets will grant you points. So you're basically collecting cards that will define what other cards get you points, but then you're also trying to get those cards. In addition to the set collection in this game, you'll also be able to find some different sculptures and stones for bonus points. And buying on Kickstarter will get you a few extra items for free that will be sold separately in the retail edition of the game. And that includes a mini expansion that's going to add a little bit more complexity in the game because it's going to give you some different options on how you can move your pawn throughout the garden. It also includes components and rules for solo gameplay called the Pesky Guest, which is provided by a guest designer. And something else that's really interesting about this campaign is that all the artwork is actually hand-painted watercolor artwork by a really excellent artist. And if you search up her name, you'll see that she covers quite a variety of subjects with her artwork, but most importantly, she also does some kitty cats. And the next campaign we have is Tome, the Light Edition, and this plays 3 to 4 players and takes about 20 to 45 minutes to play. And this is a trick-taking game where players can either play on teams or they can play head-to-head all against each other competitively. And in this game, players are going to be competing to cast the mightiest spell in order to take the trick. Cards have different powers on them, as well as different elements and unique effects that can change the course of the game. Each round a card is going to be revealed from the main deck, and the suit of that card is going to represent your trump card, which means that it's going to be worth more than any other suit. Cards all have a strength and an ability, and players are going to be playing their cards one at a time, but the first player is going to set the suit of the trick. Chaining cards with the same suit as a starting player is going to allow you to play your ability, but anyone who breaks this chain doesn't get to use the ability on their card. But any players after the player that broke the chain get to play any card without any repercussions at all. There are also some special spell cards that players can get that have strong powers and act independently of the other cards, as they do not start or end chains. At the end of a trick, the player who played the most powerful card wins the trick, and the player who wins the most tricks at the end of 6 rounds wins the game. And the next campaign is called Imunio, and it plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 15 to 20 minutes to play. And this is a party game that's all about a bunch of bacteria that are trying to have a rockin' party, and they want you to be the host, if you can't avoid it. The bacteria have chosen your body to host their party, and it's going to be up to you to try and get rid of the bacteria and defend your body the best that you can. The main mechanisms in this game rely on memory and quick reaction speed, as players will all have cards face down in front of them in a tableau, but throughout the game players will be able to see what these different cards are. And as the game plays, you're going to be flipping a card from the main deck, and the first player to grab a face down card that matches that card and play it on top of it wins that round. You can take that card from your tableau or anyone else's and you'll still get the points, but you lose points if you're too slow or if that card doesn't end up matching the card that was flipped. And the next campaign is one that I'd mentioned last week, but it got pushed back to this week, and it's called Battle for Biternia, the Hero Pack. And this is a MOBA style game where each player is going to draft 4 heroes, and then they're going to be leveling up those heroes and unlocking new powers throughout the game. This game uses a little bit of action programming because players are going to be assigning action cards to their heroes at the start of the round, and then players are going to be alternating turns, moving their heroes across the board, and then alternating turns, activating the action cards that they had previously assigned to those heroes. Hopefully you assigned the right actions to your proper heroes and got them in the spot that you needed, because the player who destroys the other player first wins the game. And the next campaign we have is Buru, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. And this is a light to midweight Euro game where you play as nobles sent by ancient Indonesian empires to pay tribute to spirits of a newly discovered island paradise. Players are going to be competing for different resources and to gain the esteem of the locals to secure their role as ambassador of Buru. The game features competitive bidding, action selection, engine building, and objective fulfillment. Players are going to want to gain esteem to win the game, and they can do that by paying tribute to the different spirits of the island, but also by pleasing the elders, tasking nobles, and completing decrees. Players can also gain esteem by holding a totem when any other player pays tribute to that spirit. It looks like a lot of thought and care was put into the research of the theme of this game, and even the art is done by Indonesian artists, which is a really nice touch. It's really nice to see a lot of this culture captured in the art, but then also done in a way that just looks incredible. And if you are interested in this game, definitely sign up to their newsletter because it'll get you a free promo with your pledge. And also on the 23rd, we have a limited edition Kickstarter only expansion for FlickFleet. And this is a tactical space battle flicking game for 2 players and takes about 10 to 30 minutes to play. And this is a dexterity game where you are literally flicking your ships into position and then flicking dice at your opponent's ships to damage their systems and destroy them. This campaign is going to offer the core game, but it's also going to include the new expansion, which is called the Box of Flicks 2. And this expansion is going to include 10 new add-ons I'm going to show on the screen now, so just feel free to pause the video if there's anything that you want to read for yourself. But there's going to be a lot more add-ons added through the stretch goals as well. And a lot of these are actually designed by fans of the series, and they are going to be getting credit for that as well as royalty payments. So it's really cool to see that this publisher is giving back to their fans and vice versa. It is worth noting that this game has a really high rating on BGG with an 8.2, which is really impressive. And this campaign is going to be offering a deluxified pledge, which is going to have all components laser etched. And the next campaign is going to be offered by BoardGameTables.com, and it's going to include Factory Funner, Bear Raid, and Ghosts of Christmas. And Factory Funner is a game that's been out for a while, and it's pretty well known. And this is a puzzly pipeline game where you're going to be laying different jigsaw puzzle type pieces to try and gain points not only at the end of the game, but also on your current turn. So you're not always going to be trying to put the most perfect piece in the right spot. You're just going to be trying to put something there that gets you the most points. This is a game that I've heard a lot of good things about, and it looks like this version is going to have some really nice upgraded artwork that just blows the old artwork out of the water. And then Bear Raid is a stock market game that uses 42 dice, but it isn't really a dice checker. You can control which dice get rolled, and you can see the results and react to it. And you can also manipulate those dice, but so can everyone else at the table, so you don't really have complete control, and you're going to be getting in each other's way. So you're going to want to try and figure out the motives of the other players and figure out what they're trying to do. Players are going to be manipulating the dice to influence different stock prices, and it's going to be up to you to determine how you can profit from that. And then the third game is Ghosts of Christmas, and this has a really interesting theme and some really interesting mechanisms to go along with it because each player is going to be playing 3 turns, past, present, and future, and you're going to be doing this somewhat simultaneously, and you can do it in any order. What players do in the past will affect the present, and what players do in the present will affect the future, so it could be really interesting since you can play those in any order, that you might do something in the future, but then it could change based on what players do in the present or past. And this is where I take a second to mention our sponsor, KickstarterGames.com, where any sales made there, a small percentage will come back and help this channel. So if you like this sort of content and you want to help out the channel and you're planning to get a game for yourself anyway, definitely go ahead and check out KickstarterGames.com because they have all sorts of games, and if you check back frequently, they also occasionally have Kickstarted versions of the games as well because they also buy games. So if you're looking to downsize your collection for any reason, just go ahead and check out their website and they can help you out with that. They also do a giveaway every month, and all you have to do is sign up to their newsletter to get entered in all of those. So definitely go ahead and do that if you like free games. And the next few games are launching on the 24th, and this is 2 different games being launched by Final Frontier Games. And both these games are tile placement games, and Solani is an abstract tile laying and drafting game for 1 to 4 players, and it takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play. And players will assemble constellations to be set in the sky, taking turns selecting 2 different shapes of tiles and placing them on their personal board. Players are going to be trying to connect stars, observe roaming planets, and correctly identify placement of celestial bodies. The game lasts for 12 rounds, and whoever did all that the best wins the game. And The Girl Who Made the Stars is also going to be a tile placement with a similar theme, and in this game, players are going to be village elders gazing upon the new stars in the night sky and discerning different forms and constellations to provide wisdom and illumination to your village. Villagers are going to be guided by this light in the darkness in order to help them gather different resources and gain you reputation, and the player with the highest reputation at the end of the game wins the game. And the next campaign we have is Xenohunters, and this plays 3 to 5 players and takes about 30 to 90 minutes to play. And this is a hidden movement, one versus many space horror game where a team of members are trying to fight against an alien by destroying the base and escaping before it kills them all. One player is going to be playing as a flesh-eating alien while the rest of the players are crew on the ship. Both teams are going to be hunting each other through the station, and they're going to be choosing when to reveal themselves and when to stay hidden. The Xenohunters can collect some pretty powerful sci-fi equipment to help hunt the alien. However, rummaging through the different equipment and supplies can create mistakes which will reveal where their location is. While the Xenohunters are trying to collect equipment and make their attack, the alien will be crawling through different air ducts, laying eggs, and commanding their minions to search and distract and sense the humans to lay the perfect traps. If the alien can successfully catch a Xenohunter, they can use them to hatch a hybrid spawn, which will be used to fight back against their own teammates. The game offers 4 core mission boards along with a ton of different sci-fi gadgets, weapons, and hybrid spawns, so that every time you play this, it'll play completely different than the last. And the next campaign we have is Sefirot, and this plays 1 to 2 players and takes about 15 to 45 minutes to play. And this is a game that uses tarot cards and a double-sided board, and it actually has 3 different modes of play. You can either play solo, co-op, or competitive. And the double-sided board is going to have one side for solo play and the other side for 2-player co-op or competitive modes. This game offers some really incredible artwork, and players are going to be drawing and playing a tarot card on their turn in order to try and climb the tree of life and overcome some different obstacles to try and gain points by matching different cards and winning the game. I don't have too much more information on how this one plays, but I know it was designed with accessibility, exploration, and communication in mind, and it's not meant to have too complex of a rule set. And the last campaign we have launches on the 26th, and it's called Amass, and this plays 1 to 6 players, takes 60 minutes to play, and has some of the coolest box art I've ever seen. And this is a game where players are going to be controlling different space mining crews on a hostile alien planet. Every round there's going to be more and more resources amassing on the board, and when all the resources have appeared, players can fight each other to get those resources. This is a game where pretty much no one gets along. Players are going to be fighting each other. Players are going to be fighting the native hostile aliens on the planet. These aliens will attack your different mining encampments, and if you're able to fight back and defeat them, you'll actually gain some cards that allow you to fight even more in the future. And if your crew gets injured, they'll get put on a wound tracker where they'll slowly recover, which is good because when they do fully recover, they'll get back to fighting. The game ends when a player has completely filled their base with resources, and at the end of the game, the resources are counted up, and the mining crew with the highest value wins the game. And this is one of those rare weeks where I don't have a giveaway to announce, but if you watch this soon enough, you might still have some time to enter into the Valeria Card Kingdoms giveaway that's on the Discord. And all you have to do is click an emoji to enter that, so check out the Discord in the description below. And don't forget to go ahead and vote for the idea that you like most for the 500 member giveaway that I mentioned at the start of the video. And that's it for this week. Until next time, keep that shelf cluttered and the table full.